When I had hardware removal, it was a very good year. It wasn't. I thought it was gonna be, but it wasn't. And a lot of you asked me, why did you have to have another surgery after hardware removal? Or what was your third surgery for? I'm gonna answer that coming up. Backstory. I broke my ankle in 2014, had 2 screws put on the inside ball of my ankle, also known as the medial malleus, or the bottom of the tibia. I put up with swelling and stiffness and aching for 3.5 years before talking to somebody who had their hardware removed after 9 months and said it was a night and day difference. I finally looked into it, decided, yep, I'm gonna have my hardware removed, and had my hardware removed March 2nd of 2018. I was really looking forward to, okay, March, pretty early in the year, right? Rest of 2018 is gonna be awesome. It wasn't. In fact, the aching that I had was like replaced with pain. I would say that the worst days of 2018 were usually the days right after I was on my feet all day. Usually weddings or holidays or days that I was with friends or family all day. And the next day my foot was not only the size of a softball, but it was painful to walk. Now here we are after my friend's wedding in June, and I went into the doctor because I had hardware removal in March, and now we're in June. That's like 3, almost 4 months later, and I'm still having issues. So I went in and we ended up doing a cortisone shot. Now here's the thing, looking back, I wish I wouldn't have done a cortisone shot, but you also have to understand, unless you try stuff with this ankle injury, you don't know what's gonna work for you. So I kind of look back and I'm like, meh, I had to try it to know that it didn't work. So I shouldn't say it didn't work. Cortisone shot did work, but only temporary. It lasted like 2 or 3 months. And by the way, it didn't hurt to have a cortisone shot. Excuse me. It just felt like a shot. And honestly, not even 5 minutes later, before I even got to my vehicle in the parking lot, the stiffness was like gone. I still had swelling, but I couldn't really feel it. And I felt so much better with just not having that stiffness. So the cortisone shot did bring me some relief. So now that was June. Fast forward, and now we're at it's October, and I'm driving across the state of Minnesota. I'm driving across the state of Wisconsin, and I make it to Green Bay. My friend had her wedding at this awesome place called Aaron's Hill in Green Bay, right next to Lambeau Field. I was a bridesmaid, and I actually officiated the wedding as well. And everything went well with that. And then we made it to the reception. We're all out on this glass deck during reception, and we're overlooking this really cool park that they redid, and it's got like this awesome turf field, and there's dads and their kids, and I mean there's whole families there, and we're watching all these people run this 40-yard dash, where it's a long stretch like this, like a 40-yard dash, but then it's got a little timer over the top. So there was, I think, 5 individual lanes, and then you could tell your time. And so we saw everything from like 3-year-olds running it to grandpas racing against those 3-year-olds. And so it looks like a lot of fun. Maybe it was the alcohol, maybe it wasn't. We just said, hey, let's go do that. That'd be super fun. So some of the groomsmen and us bridesmaids went down there, and we ran it. Now I knew I haven't run in 4+ years because of my ankle. So I knew I was just gonna have to do like a little jog with with my little tippy toe thing. And so I did that, but I went a little faster. I didn't go that easy on tippy toes. I kind of put something into it, and I didn't hear anything pop. There was no severe pain when I did it, but the second I got over to the bench where my purse was and some of the other bridesmaids, I felt pain. And in fact, the second we left the gate to that 40-yard dash area and we were walking towards the elevator to head up back to the reception, I couldn't even barely walk. I mean, I was like seriously limping, and I instantly am like, crap. Because here's the deal. The bride is one of the nicest people I know, and she would be one of those people who would probably leave her own wedding dance to make sure I was okay if I had to go to the hospital. Type of person. She's so sweet. So I knew I couldn't ruin her big night, and I was like, I gotta keep this on the down low. So I tried to keep my limping to a minimum, and I went and found the wedding planner, and I said, do you still have that ace wrap? Got ace wrap, got the ice from the back, plopped myself down on the floor, pulled the dress up to my knees, put this huge ice pack, like big ice pack, on my ankle, and wrapped the ace wrap. And they were all kind of standing there like, they thought they were gonna have to wrap me up, and they were like, wow, you've done this before. And I was like, unfortunately, yes. So here I am on the dance floor, and I've got this huge ice pack on my ankle and my flowing dress over it, so nobody knows what's going on. Eventually the groomsman was the groom was challenging me to like a dance off, and I couldn't do it. And he was kind of like, and I finally went up to him and I go, if you don't tell your wife, I'll tell you something. And he's like, okay. And I went like this, and I pulled up my dress just to, 6 inches so he could see the ice pack, and his eyes got big, and he's like, what did you? And I'm like, no worries, I'm fine, just a little swelling. And he's like, oh my gosh. By the end of the dance, we made it back to the hotel, which, by the way, I don't really forget my purse anywhere. I forgot my purse on that bench where I did the 40-yard dash, and it was out there for probably 4 or 5 hours, and it had my wallet in it, it had my cell phone, it had my car keys. I had to drive across 2 states again. That could have easily messed that trip up or messed my life up badly. But so the morning after this Green Bay wedding, I can't even like walk. I'm in pain, and I am like that person who wants to get in their house with 1 load of groceries in their hands. Yeah, you know those type of people, like, gotta make it in 1 trip, and you will do anything. You'll put grocery bag handle in your mouth to just get in 1 trip. Well, that was me trying to get all my luggage down from my room to the car because I was in so much pain, and I'm like, I can't do another one of these trips. And on my way back, I stopped at my grandma's house, and she saw my ankle, and she saw how much pain I was in. And that actually, sometimes people say, was anything good come out of your ankle injury? I have to say that's probably one of a chair up, and she puts her hand on it. She starts praying on my ankle, and that was just a really cool moment because I got one of my favorite pictures that I will probably forever remember about my grandma. Anyways, I called the doctor and got in, within a couple days, and I had a job interview coming up that I had to fly out for, and I could not show up to this job interview with a swollen ankle, and I knew there was one temporary fix: a cortisone shot. So I had another cortisone shot in October, right after this wedding dance, and I think 2 or 3 days before I flew out for this job interview. It did the trick. Unfortunately, again, it lasted for about 2 months. Here we are, Christmas. So we're in December now, December of 2018. Remember, I had hardware removed in March. And so we've been going through these weddings. I've had now 2 cortisone shots, June and October, and we're at Christmas. I am on my feet all day with my nieces and nephews at family Christmas, but didn't do anything crazy active. At the end of the night, we put on some music, and I held my 1.5-year-old nephew on my hip and kind of swayed back and forth like this, but no mosh pitting or nothing crazy. By the end of the night, 11 p.m., I was in pain. I was not aching, pain. I was in pain. I tried to sleep it off, but but I knew, I was like, this is bad. I woke up, I barely got any sleep. I woke up so many times during the night. And we had all stayed at my brother's after family Christmas. And I woke up the next morning and I barely made it into the kitchen, and then made my way into the living room to the recliner, and I put my ankle up and I was in pain. I couldn't even walk. And they ended up having to go get me crutches because I was in so much pain. Now, when they have to go get you crutches, that's bad. I mean, it can be bad otherwise, but I knew this was bad, and I was going back in. So again, I called the doctor first business day they're open after all this happened. And I go back in and I'm like, something is up. And he's like, okay, we've done hardware removal. You've been in for 2 cortisone shots. And he's like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do an MRI, which ended up being a CT scan. And so they did the CT scan. And that was on New Year's Eve of 2018. The very last day, December 31st, is when I had that CT scan done. He called me a week later or 5 days later and said, bone fragments. Bone fragments picked up at the CT scan. Now, for those who don't know, an MRI or a CT scan will show a ton more. It's a lot more of a detailed image than an X-ray is. So I obviously had X-rays at almost all my appointments following, like my post-op appointment for my hardware removal and other appointments. But these bone fragments were so tiny that they never showed up. So we talk about a couple options and eventually say, hey, we can do another cortisone shot, or we can do a surgery and get this bone fragment up. Now, I don't want to do another. I'm over these cortisone shots. They're just temporary little band-aids, and I'm young. I want to get this figured out. And so I tell him, no, we've got to get down to the bottom of this. I just want to get this problem fixed. Like, let's be thorough here. And so we decided to do surgery again. And when he went in and did surgery, he also found a bone spur, and then they did a scope of the scar tissue. Scar tissue, I hear, can be pretty, it can really limit your range of motion. And so they scoped that too. And I am happy to say that my ankle, it still swells a little bit, but not as bad as it nearly was. And I'm finishing up physical therapy, and I have never been more excited. I finally feel, for the first time in 4.5 years, I finally feel like I might be getting somewhat close back to normal. Like, I haven't ran in 4.5 years. I haven't done anything majorly active. Jumping off like a tiny step stool, I've never been able to do that. And when I do, guess what I do? I come down, if I jump off of anywhere, I jump and I land, and all my weight lands on this. I naturally am scared to put weight on my bad left side. And now I'm working through physical therapy, and he told me, I can tell that you have been babying, or there's fear about putting weight on your left side, and really you have been using your left side almost as like a prosthetic for the last 4.5 years. That was kind of shocking to hear. So overall, the third surgery was bone fragment removal, scar tissue scope, and fixing a bone spur. So I'm really happy that I did that third surgery, and I think I'm well on my way to recovery. And I had, for the first time, also had physical therapy after this surgery, and have been really, really happy with my physical therapist. So I'm finally, for the first time in 4.5 years, really looking forward to just keeping and working on the physical therapy exercises for this ankle, and getting it back to normal. So if that answers your questions, thanks for watching Broken Ankle 101 series. See you later, guys.